This is Entrepreneurs Get Visible, the podcast for people who want more impact, influence, and income. I'm Anna Parker-Naples, and I'll be sharing with you proven methods from leading entrepreneurs that help you get visible as an authority in your field. Because anything's possible when you get visible.
I want to discuss with you today the concept of making and building strategic connections to build your business. And I think that there are two main ways that I want to make sure that we have a bit of a think about today. I was going to say that we discuss, but I'm the only one doing the talking. My thoughts are that it is so true that the people we surround ourselves with really make a difference to our own results, to our own success. And there's several reasons for that. First of all, there's the obvious nature of making friends who are influential, who are connected, who have access to people that you don't have in your network. Of course, that's going to be useful for you. The other thing is that when you surround yourself with great connections who are successful people, whatever success looks like for you. But in this particular model that I'm discussing today, it is about considering the kind of people who are getting the results that you would like to have. So be that the financial success that you want to have, or the social media success that you want to have, or the book launch success that you want to have, the credibility that you want to have. Surrounding yourself with people who also have those things, already have those things, and are creating more of those things will push you to see that it is completely and utterly possible. This is particularly true when it comes to finances. Over the last couple of years, I've been in many great high-level masterminds. I've talked about some of them here on this show. And often, in fact, every single time that I've joined one, it has been a little bit out of my comfort zone. The amount of cash I've had to lay down in order to be at that table has stretched me and made me feel a little bit uncomfortable. And I've entered that space feeling, what would be the right phrase here? A little bit like I'm not ready to be at that table. That not that I don't belong, not that I don't fit, but that I have a way to go to really earn and feel comfortable at that table. As a result of the conversations then that I am privy to about the level of income my new peers in a mastermind group are creating, the ease and flow with which they are able to sell high ticket offers, the ease and flow at which they are selling mid-range offers, which would all previously have been at my high end, and stretching my boundaries of how I see the world, how I see the possibility of me having money blocks or visibility blocks or any procrastination that's going on in my business, and seeing how people who are ahead of me, if you like, if this were a race, people who've been doing this longer than me or having bigger results than me, how they have got there and the ease with which they are now in it. At the same time as hearing their challenges, their struggles, their mental blocks, because they come up for everyone, no matter what stage of business that you're at. But developing those strategic connections means that you are up-leveling your connections, if you like. You are opening yourself up to friendships with people who are forward-thinking and positive-minded and success-driven as well, who get what you're trying to do. And if you are the kind of person who is perhaps on a rapidly growing path of personal and business development, you may have been feeling for a while that you become a little disconnected from old friends that you have or recent friends that you have, and you don't quite know how to fill that void, because it can be a bit painful actually being in that space. For me, building strategic connections, friendships, alliances has been a game changer. It means that because I have placed myself at a particular table by joining a mastermind or any other strategy that I've used, I'm then finding that because I've invested in developing those relationships with a mindset of how can I help other people as much as how can they potentially help me somewhere down the line, the recommendations and referrals are coming to me much more often because of the level at which I have decided to play. The other thing that I found incredibly potent is my podcast. So we will, this time next Thursday, it will be my 200th episode of Entrepreneurs Get Visible, which is my second podcast. So it'll be very nearly my 300th episode that I've done on a podcast. And I was recently going back through all the connections that I've built through podcasting, through hosting this show, through the people we've had as guests, the people who I've then been invited on their show, or I felt able to reach out to them. And even if they've not come on the show yet, or I've not been on their show yet, that we've developed a relationship where it's easy for me to make that invitation because I'm creating something. I have created something that has put me in a valuable spot. And in case it's never really dawned on you, the connections that happen before, after, and during podcast interviews are incredibly powerful. That's often when relationships are developed. That's often when you get to see someone a little bit behind the scenes, so their guard is dropped because they're not performing to an audience, if you like. And it's not to say that happens with every guesting experience. It's not to say it happens with every time we have a guest on our show or I go on someone else's show. But when I was writing out a list for my team for the podcast booking boutique of all of the connections that I have in podcasting now in the entrepreneurship space, we were pretty flabbergasted at the level and depth with which I felt able to connect with people, contact people, and have conversations with people because I'd built the relationship by inviting them on my show in the first place. Now, on the whole, I'm very strategic about who we have on the show because they're either people I think have got something I really want to share with you guys, with my listeners, or they're people I want to bring into my world in some way. And if you're a podcast host, I would strongly urge you to start considering how strategic are you being with who you have on your show? What's the purpose of each of those guest relationships that you develop? Is it all done the moment that interview is over? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm often interviewing very busy people. It's not like we're sitting there and I'm making them stay for a full 60 minutes. But there's something rich that happens if you allow it to happen in the moments after you've finished recording and in your interactions afterwards as well, online and in voice notes and messages and what have you. And my team were really laughing, saying that my friendship list now has become the who's who in the UK and some of the US contingent as well of who is podcasting, who's influential, who is making real strides with their personal brand. And that's an amazing thing. And to put that in context, yes, I'm about to hit my 200th episode, but I've only been doing this show for 18 months. And so what I want to share with you is that you can build high-level, quality, strategic connections if you get your head in the game. Where are you hanging out? Where can you slightly shift and stretch yourself by joining a mastermind that would have the right kind of people for you? And yes, you will have to put money on the table, but it also means that other people are putting money on the table too. And you know that they are then invested in being in that space, in that container. And with podcasting, I cannot tell you, well, I can, I say it all the time, how powerful it is. And this is one of the things we wanted to build with the podcast booking boutique, that we wanted it to be a really high touch, highly valuable way to develop lead generation by getting in people's ears, but also to open the doors for reputation building, connection enhancing relationships to flourish. We are very steadily rolling out the podcast booking boutique. And if you would like to apply, if you are an expert who is probably in the high 5, 6 to 7, maybe even 8-figure business owner, and you have something very special and important to share with the world, we'd like to help you. We'd like to support you to do that. And you can go and apply at In fact, the link's going to be below, but it's at thepodcastagency.com. You can find the little page that's all about the podcast booking boutique. How strategic are you being? How can you shift, pivot, change, adjust who you're connecting with? It doesn't happen by accident. It happens because you decide it. And that is what I'm going to leave you with today.
Thank you for listening to Entrepreneurs Get Visible. To get your free checklist on how to raise your profile and to find out about our community, go to annaparkernaples.co.uk/get visible.